Message from the Pleiades, the Adrain interview. By Sean David Morton. May the 8th, 1996. Extracted from Delphi Associates Newsletter, Volume 3, Issue No. 30, May 1996. Editor's note: when Adrain arrived for the interview, he had lost his contact notes. They had either been misplaced or stolen, and this greatly perturbed him. From what I have read of his writings, he is very eloquent and profound. This interview, and the transcription of it, will help him greatly in the future because of the loss of these notes. He speaks English with a heavy Spanish accent, and some of this transcript may be hard to understand because of his unique manner of speaking and inflection. I have tried to clean it up where I can, and once you get into the rhythm of the piece you should have no problems. Part 1. May the 8th, 1996. Sean, so, with the loss of your contact notes, you are probably going to have to pretty much start all over from the beginning today. Adrain: yes, I suppose I should. Sean: because the things that we are going over are very important, they have everything to do with what is happening on our little Earth. Tell me about the pendant you are wearing. The pendant appears to be a large yellow faceted sapphire about the size of a small egg. Adrain: what do you think of it, eh? Sean: I think it is beautiful. It looks like a yellow sapphire. Adrain: actually it's a citron. It's a thing I wanted, but I didn't know exactly how it would come about. I needed a jewel that would perform certain functions. Laughs: looks like you have one too. He points at the medallion around my neck. Sean: it's called a nuclear receptor. Adrain: that's interesting. That comes from Fred Bell, yes? Sean: yes. Dr. Fred Bell. He sends his regards, by the way. He is also a UFO contactee. Adrain, holding up his pendant: I wanted something that I could work with for certain reasons, certain personal things, and so I just sent out the thought. Then the Pleiadians came in and said they were going to give me something. In this case it was from someone else. A friend of mine called and said, I have this beautiful thing for you. When I saw it I freaked out. Because it was exactly what I wanted, the shape and everything. So they used her as a mediator, you know. Sean: does it have any particularly unique powers or abilities, or is it just nice? Adrain: it seems just nice, but it's used to reflect back negativity. Anything as far as thoughts from people or actions or whatever, it will be reflected right back at them. Sean: so you were born originally in Cuba? Adrain: Havana, Cuba, yes. Sean: when's your birthday? Adrain: this one. This body. Was born 11/19/1955. Sean: and in 1965 you came here to Miami? Adrain: well, the boy came here in 1960, and in 1965 was when the approach and the soul transfer occurred. Let's talk about that a little bit. The boy's physical body was very poor. He was partially mentally retarded and in very bad physical condition. I was throwing a ball in the air when I saw a V-shaped phalanx of ships coming across the sky. The lead ship began to glow very brightly and descend. I thought it was a plane crashing, so the boy ran towards his bike, and before he could make it, he was taken up in the ship. Inside the craft was when the boy first saw Adrain. He is from a planet called Romel in the Kiran star system, some 950 years in our linear future. The boy was placed in a glass cylinder, and his soul essence was removed and healed, where it was incarnated in a much more positive environment. Then Adrain laid down in a second glass cylinder. There was a device that looked like a large white box, like a refrigerator, placed horizontally, with glowing tubes coming out of the glass cylinder into and out of the white box. Adrain transferred maybe 10 or 20% of his mind and soul into this body, so that he could exist simultaneously in the future and in this Earth timeline. Like an archaeologist or anthropologist that has found a way to travel in time and not disrupt the structure of the time he is studying. When I got up out of the glass cylinder on the ship, and I saw this huge blonde being, it was like looking in a mirror. Like looking back at myself. Sean: so you are saying that you are not simply a contactee, a human being in contact with extraterrestrials, but that you are, in fact, one of them? Adrain smiles: when I came in, I came in full consciousness. During the process of days I started losing my original memory, except the most important thing, who I was. That was never lost. I retain only certain memories. Now, I'm sort of trying to recuperate. I sort of went down for a long time and now I'm on my way back up. Little by little. In other words, I've been left with about 5% of the whole consciousness. Everything else is in the other one, the it. So I am very human now, you know. When I came in, I took over all the mentally retarded boy's debts, his karma. That was part of the deal in the astral plane, so that he could progress very quickly in his new incarnation. When I had fixed his karma to a comfortable degree, then I left his family. I'll never forget it. The Pleiadians came into my room one day and said they had orders from the Pleiadian High Council. You've got to leave as soon as possible. Everything is arranged for you, because the vibrations here in the home are interfering with our contacts. I was a little surprised in a way, but I was expecting it. The Pleiadians said, "Don't worry, everything is fine. Everything will be okay, we have contacts, and we've made arrangements, don't worry about anything. Just pack up, and we'll take care of everything." Sean, how old were you when this happened? Adrain, around 16 or 17, I think. Sean, where were you? Was this in the United States? In Miami? Where did you move to when you were 16? Adrain, that's a curious thing. I did what they told me, packed everything. Then I get a call from a friend of mine, saying to meet these guys who just came from Japan, a martial artist, staying for a while in Miami. Oh, I said, man, that's for every single quote, I love martial arts. Then I went to see them, and we became friends, and evidently they saw something, maybe not strange, but different to me, and they asked me if I wanted to join them, and become part of the group, and I said, oh, this is the connection for me. So I went to live with these people, and I became a black belt and got involved with the Buddhist philosophy. Sean, did they have an ashram, like a dojo, here in Miami? Adrain, yes, here in Miami. They had a shrine in their house. So, I lived with them for months. I went to live with a friend that I met there with them for about a year. After that I got a job. Then I lived on my own and finally I got my own apartment. But I stayed in close contact with all of them, training for my black belt. Sean, so you started out being very independent, very young. Adrain, very young. They started kicking me, really early, to make me mature at a very accelerated rate at many levels, and told me not to depend on anyone and not to trust many people. Sean, do you ever see your mother and father here much? Adrain, no, they're dead, physically, now. Sean, oh, I'm sorry. Adrain, they were pretty old. At that time, with that family. I have a half-brother in New York, and that's about it. I don't have any more family. Sean, what happened to the physical soul of the... I'm not sure what his original name was, but the original soul of the other body. The small boy you once were. Adrain, they told me they took him to South America to reincarnate, in a family, which was very interestingly, a family with money, and they are into metaphysical things. So, he is much better off. The deal was pretty good for him. Good for him, for us, for everybody. Because he was not going to make it. He was dying, and emotionally he wasn't well with that fanatically religious family. They were driving him crazy, you know. I was going crazy there, too. There were times I would come from school, and I'd see priests and psychiatrists in the house, because they thought that the devil was in me. That's what they were saying. Sean, is that why? Adrain, yeah, because I would fool around with these people. Tell them the future, tell them sometimes what they were dreaming, and this bothered them. I'd see what they would do. I spoke to these people like they were an experiment in the house, you know. Not in a malicious way, you know. I just wanted to see some reaction, to learn myself, and how they would take things, you know. I would play around like that, but what really did it, was within 3 weeks of my coming into his body, I left the church. That's what really did it. Then the harassment and abuse got really very strong. Sean, you left the Catholic Church? When you were 10, and you told your parents you didn't want to go anymore? Adrain, Yoop. That's it. Just like that. Sean, when was your first physical contact? When was the first time that you actually rode on a ship? Do you remember it? Physically, after you got your new body. Adrain, I've got to think back. Because there were times it was done physically and there were times it was done astrally, and sometimes that is very similar to the physical. I think the next time was right away, immediately, and this was in a matter of days, in the same park. And then I remember once, outside the Orange Bowl, I would come with my bike, and with my footballs, and just started kicking, and stayed till very late at night. Sean, so you were out playing football, and they came down and got you? Adrain, that's how it would happen for the contact. Sean, outside the Orange Bowl. Was it outside, or actually in the Orange Bowl? Adrain, no. In the parking lot, on the grass field, they have a big thing there. It is changed today from when the original abduction took place. Before it was bigger. And that's how they would do it, you know. My little bike, a bag of footballs. I was pretty good at kicking footballs. I was a kicker for Miami High and I was aiming to become a pro, and even once, some people from the New England Patriots, back then they were the Boston Patriots. They came right up to the field, and they told me, "You are a good field goal kicker. You can play for us." So I started preparing everything to go. Something told me to drop it, because that would have taken me in another direction in my life, so I turned them down. But today, I still have the little part of me that asks how could it have been? I could have played pro football, can you imagine? Sean, well, we have better things planned for you, believe me. And so do the Pleiadians, I guess. Did they ever give you a reason, as to why particularly they chose the body that you are in now? As to why they chose you at that time? Adrain, because one of the things they told me was that they knew the people in the family, a lot of the family members of this body, and all the incarnations. They have had conflict with the same people that live in that family of the little boy. Not only that, but there were things there from the past, dangling, that had to be conquered and resolved. But on top of everything else, on many levels, that was proper, for me to get excellent experience. Which I did. It was an excellent school. It was hard, it almost destroyed me many times. That's the whole thing. It was very good. It matured me. It helped me in many ways, on many levels. So many things like that were considered. The learning processes, the karmic process. It was all so carefully planned. That's why. That's the main reason. So, I met a lot of people that were not for me. But also I had things to accomplish with them and to learn. So, until today I am still learning just a little bit more until I leave this area. I'm going to go at any moment, I'm not sure. They don't tell me everything. You know how it works. They don't like to interfere. They might alter things. I guess I needed the energy here. They are always saying, you become a teacher in this area, so negative and so adverse, boy, you can feel satisfied. Do you know what I mean? You can become a good teacher. That's what's happening to me. I want to do something else better now. Sean, when do you feel you absolutely have to be out of Miami? Adrain, I think absolutely, before 3 years. Because there are things that can happen before. But since I know that things can be changed, I always try to say that things can be either altered or pushed away. Sean, negative things. Adrain, things that have to do with geological disturbance and stuff like that. And I'm not always thinking about that. And I don't care too much. I always think that if it's not for you, it's not for you. You will be at the right place at the right time. You don't have to be thinking of getting money to buy property in North Carolina, or afraid of this or afraid of that. I don't believe in that. I don't think in that way, anyway. You could be in the most dangerous places and the ship will come down right in an instant and take you and that's it. Sean, exactly what do they want? Adrain, they want stability right now. I know that for some it doesn't make any sense, it may even hurt them, but again, they say have faith. They are in control, and there is nothing to worry about. Some people, They see me as a little shaky. They think that maybe I'm a little crazy, that I'm a liar. Maybe my case could be fake. It is for our convenience. That's how I can perceive and work real good, and then when the time comes, we'll launch a plan of concrete evidence, and then suddenly everybody will be exposed from behind their mask. That's what we're doing now. You just have to trust me. We are out to expose everybody that doesn't belong. Those people are going to stay behind, and whoever wants to come back later, we will not let them. So, I think that's what we are going to do. We are going to work with what we have, and I'll give you a little bit once in a while in the form of photos and video. Sean, with the videotape, the Miami Contacts, and Randy Winter's book, The Pleiadian Mission, and the network TV special I have planned, many people will be talking about your case and everybody will come along with their strong opinion one way or the other. Adrain, because there will come a time that the powerful, straight hardcore, undeniable evidence, will be brought to light. But these people, they will not be able to be a part of my project. They are going to want it, but they will not be allowed. Don't let them in, don't talk to them. They had their chance. They could have said, oh, maybe, this is a little strange, but let's give the guy a chance, you know, and that shows they have a heart and they want to know the truth as people. At least it will not eliminate them very quickly. Those are the ones we want to find out where they are. But the others, the disbelievers, they're not getting anything in the future, on any level. So I'm finding out already who to trust and who not to. Sean, was there a connection between the Ets and Nazi Germany? Adrain, yes. Through the Thalenvril secret societies. The Ets they originally made contact with were very negative. But even those Ets, because of certain reasons, they, too, are also changing. They are getting higher. I will see what happens and how they behave when the thing hits the fan. How do you say? All of them as a group together, the original people that were part of that scenario in WW2, we will see how much they have really changed. I know at least these Germans have changed a great deal. Now the Eds, I think they still have a little bit more to go, but they are changing. Their leader, this Ashtasharan. Sean, what's the leader's name? Adrain, Ashtasharan. He is also called Erazik, which is his real name. Sean, yes. Adrain, he gave them, the Germans, the technology, and he helped all of them, along with Hitler, get away. That has nothing to do with the fact that the 9 families had this technology even before all this. Hitler got his technology around the 30s. These people that were in control of Hitler and in control of the Nazi Party, the Thal Society, the real bastards, all this stuff, the whole thing. The 9 families had all this technology long before it was given to Hitler and the Germans. Since the 1800s, the 9 families started very strong contacts with the Evilites hundreds of years ago, and they helped them with the building of all this advanced stuff. Sean, you're saying Ashta was the one that helped Hitler get away? Adrain, yes. He has done some very bad things. But he may at some time in the future change. We will see. He is a Pleiadian renegade, this Ashta. Sean, is that so? Adrain, he is an old Pleiadian renegade. Sean, why would the 9 families choose the Germans to begin the release of this technology? Or to develop this technology? Adrain, because the Germans, they chose them as their police. Because the Germans are the closest thing genetically to the 9 families' forefathers. They have alien genetics from these Zets. They are old Lyrans and Pleiadians. The old warlike Lyrans and Pleiadians who raped and pillaged across the galaxy millions of years ago. That's why during the war they... Give me time so I can explain something. You guys know already, more or less, but people should know. The wars, like all wars, are always controlled by the 9 families ever since who knows when. Generation from generation. Just to make money, create mass genocide to control the populace and to take over land. They always control everybody that's involved. They have reunions of these insider people and they say, oh, now tomorrow it is your turn to bring your troops and destroy all his troops. It is like fake wrestling. They get together and create a fake scenario, and everybody gets a piece of pie, and that's what's been happening for thousands of years. They chose the SS and all these people, the Germans, who actually have become the police, for the time being, while they were doing all these things, and World War II and before, and in the future also, because actually they were also the ones that created the CIA. The Germans did. The Germans are all of the high instructors of the CIA installations, wherever they are. All the teachers are German till this day. There is no contract saying that that is the way it's supposed to be, but it is just a law, and that's the way it is. They are all in control. Sean, do you remember the names? You mentioned the 9 families a couple of times. Do you remember the names of the 9 families? Adrain, yes, I know, but I would not like to say. Sean, are the Rothschilds the leaders? Are the Habsburgs involved? Adrain smiles cryptically. Sean, how about the royal families? Adrain, you are not going to put this out, are you? Sean, we want to know just for ourselves. I won't put anything out there unless you say that it's all right. Adrain, no. You can say what's going on. But leave the names out. Because that's negative karma, and we don't want to damage anybody, either. We've got to remember, they are also us, and they have a right to do what they're doing, just like we have a right to do what we are doing. But we are not going to injure anybody either, even though we know what they are doing. It is okay, but that's all part of the plan. And the other people that you know, those commissions. What is it? The Trilateral and the CFR, they are just people getting used. Sean, are all of the 9 families represented in the Bilderberger meetings? Adrain, yes, they are in charge of all these people. All these groups. The Bilderbergers that you mentioned. What was another one that you said? Sean, the Council on Foreign Relations. Adrain, I have a friend that used to be a chef for these people when they got together. With a very high clearance in the Luftwaffe. You know. He was a German. He said everybody was there in a NATO meeting, in the time when Nixon was the president. My friend is in the corner fixing the food, and then he hears Nixon start talking about something that my friend doesn't remember, and demanding some things. But in the middle of the room, where Nixon was sitting, at a long table, there were 3 guys. Very young, good-looking, dressed very nice. And all through the reunion they were very quiet and weird. They didn't talk once to anybody. When Nixon started talking, the guy in the middle started yelling at Nixon saying, "You are stupid. You keep your mouth shut." My friend, when he saw and heard that, he was freaking out. He said that Nixon actually physically hung his head down and wouldn't look the man in the eye. Nixon's face turned red and he started trembling, like a child being scolded. Now, who was the guy in the middle? And the other 2 next to him? They were no more than 30 years old, yelling at the President of the United States. Sean, I wonder if Watergate happened after that. Adrain, I know. Laughs, and after that came Watergate. Sean, do these 9 families have access to the bases on the moon? Adrain, they are the ones that have had this advanced super technology since the 1800s, I believe. Who knows before that? I don't know. A long time. The thing that happened to the Nazis was giving them some part of the technology that they allowed them to have. It's like they were giving it to the police for when the war was over. I'm going to get to that later. You will see how I'm going to connect it. If I don't, remind me. Sean, it's all right. Adrain, they knew that after the war everybody involved was not going to destroy everything. The consciousness was totally all about just making money. So they needed Nazis to go and construct the CIA, who actually take care of these people, the former Nazi war criminals, when they go all around internationally, to establish themselves. That's what the CIA originally was set up for. Sean, as their own private police force. Adrain, yes. And that's exactly what it is to this day. To this day. But the 9 families have technology from those secret scientists that no one will ever know about. All the scientists that are German, and the ones that came after World War II. They are the ones on the moon. They are the ones on Mars. They've been there ever since the 40s. In the 40s they brought some French and some Japanese, too. Hundreds of thousands of people are up there. Hundreds of thousands of people all living underground. They literally have made it like an Earth. They have lakes, they have trees, they've got everything. They can survive forever, they don't need anything. I have seen all this when I traveled there on the astral plane. Sean, underground on Mars. Adrain, and on the Moon, both. Sean, were there any indigenous people on Mars that protested when they went up there? Was there anybody left on Mars? Adrain, no. But in another dimension, yes. But not physically in how we see it. It is all deserted. Sean, on the Moon, the huge tower that the NASA scientist Richard Hoagland's talking about. Tell me what that is. Click image right, Adrain, it's like an airport, like the thing over at the Miami airport, a control tower. Sean, Richard Hoagland says it is 20 miles high and is made out of glass. It's a communications tower for an airport. Adrain, yes. But that has to do with the old wars with Malona, from long ago, hundreds of thousands of years back. I don't think they're using it now for anything. They have probably tried to activate it, but I don't know if they have been successful. It is just like many of the things I have seen on Mars. The towers, pyramids and monuments and all. Ed. Note. Malona is the name the Pleiadians gave to the fifth planet in our solar system, which blew itself to smithereens in a great war over 200,000 years ago. What remains of Malona is now the asteroid belt. Sean, have you been up close to those and seen them at all? Adrain, in the astral plane. Many years ago I saw all of the power. Like a giant speedway, what do you call it? Like a runway. It looked deserted. But most of this is underground. Sean, so what do these 9 families have planned for us and the rest of the world in the next few years? First off, how do you know the plan, and how do you know what they have planned? Adrain laughed. Man, that's a heavy question. 1, because I was part of it once. In another incarnation I was one of these people. Sean, one of the 9 families. Adrain, part of it. Not directly. One of the officers. Sean, how long ago? Adrain, in the 1930s. Don't get confused. Don't worry. Because we can go and have millions of lifetimes, in between the lives we have here on Earth, with things like that in my memory of what I've seen. Sean, what are their plans? You spoke earlier about 3 things. Adrain, the first thing is to create a mass genocide. Because they are under orders from the powers of the old Ironies, the old renegade Lyrans from Atlantis and their descendants. These guys were the great overlords called the... Sean, what are they called? Adrain, the each week, which is a title meaning supreme leader or wisdom king. Sean, Ishwish. Adrain, the correct pronunciation of it is each week. Some people say Yahweh or Jehovah, but each week is the correct pronunciation because the power is created when you say it correctly. It is very powerful. It comes from the original Lyran, which comes from a language that was created by the life force. It brings out powers. Like singing it, you know. The Hebrews used this name, but were never allowed to ever pronounce it. They have orders from the old overlords to create a mass genocide. Because from that clean-up, they are supposed to create a new race, stronger people, from the human beings that are left, so that they can actually reincarnate with their servants and officers. They are coming back. Jehovah the Terrible is one of them. Because they cannot escape the vibration of the earth. They didn't belong here originally. They died here and so they are stuck here. They cannot incarnate because they will explode a regular human body. The vibration here that is pulling them, they can't escape. Naturally, this is a big problem for them. But they are the ones behind all the trouble you have seen in the history of the world. These overlords are stuck in the astral world and cannot progress any further. They want to come back here into this dimensional plane. These are the families of the aliens that were actually responsible for the destruction of Atlantis. They are still here. They want to create a whole global genocide, to recreate a super race. That is the whole mystery behind everything that is going on. Then they want to leave some percentage of subhumans, to use as a slave race that is human but also part robotoid, using their technology to make them easier to control, such as implants. Sean, this slave race is probably going to be us. Adrain, it is incredible what they have planned. These people don't know which race they are going to use as the servants yet. Probably everybody who is left over. They are scheming so many things. They are planning another war. Like they planned all of the others. They actually not only make money and help each other, but they are looking at killing a fantastic amount of people they have a problem with. So they are doing that. They have all these designer drugs. The designer viruses. The microwaves. All of the technology. You think that you know about most of it, but you can't even dream of what they have. They want complete genocide and the remodeling of the Earth human species. They are attempting constantly to accelerate the spin of the Earth with atomic blasts to switch the poles, cause that's a convenient way to eliminate a lot of people, and sort out all the trash or subhumans, as they call all of you. Down here everything is clear so that they can come back. That's one reason they are establishing an entire civilization on the Moon and Mars. So, that they can leave it all behind, and then come back and make everything new. Sean, who is going to stop them? What do you think will happen? Adrain, they are going to kill themselves off in the end. Because of the vibration of the new era. The new zodiac energy fields of Aquarius. Sean, the ascension frequency? Adrain, yes. That is an excellent name for it. They won't be able to go against us. That energy works in a very interesting way, because it is amplifying and combining all the energies we have, but consciously and on purpose. It also comes from the collective consciousness. From beings from the center of the galaxy and the center of the universe. Mostly from our galaxy. This energy is activating our DNA on purpose at the start of the Aquarian age, and it is hitting everybody in a serious way as a natural power boost. The people that are unbalanced will become more unbalanced, and the people who are metaphysical will become even more metaphysical. More good, beautiful hearts and more love. So it amplifies whatever is in you. These guys that we are talking about, they chose as a learning procedure for their own souls to be very unbalanced. So, this energy is going to kill them. They are going to kill themselves off. They are going to go crazy totally, or explode or just die. I mean, that's it. They can't and they won't be able to hold the energy. They cannot run from this one. Sean, is that what Project HARP, High Altitude Oral Research Project, is about, and all of the electromagnetic frequency bombardment and all the pollution? They are trying to actually destroy the evolving DNA of the human race. Adrain, well, yes, they are doing that because they know that people are becoming very dangerous. They are finding out what has been going on all this time, and it is now or never. So, they are very nervous, and very afraid. That's why they are microwaving us and destroying the quality of our food. They want to do something now. They are against the wall. They know about the energy of the ascension and the zodiac. They know all about the energy of the collective consciousness. They know the people are changing and they know something can happen, and that the alliance will come to interfere. They are not going to, but that's why they have the moon bases, the military bases, all that weaponry out there in case of an attack. All the Star Wars stuff. But not an attack from an alien race, like people think. No. It's an attack from the actual galactic government. Like a parent coming down to a little kid starting a fire, spanking them and saying, "That's enough. No more." They are afraid. They felt all this weaponry was for a war against Russia or China. No, no, no. It is to be used against the benevolent alien alliance should they interfere, or against us if we evolve too far. They know that they can't get away with what they are doing here forever. Sean, who is the alliance? Adrain, the Universal Alliance of Planets. Sean, how many are there? Adrain, that's what I forgot. All that information was in my notes. Sean, 48 evolving worlds in this sector. More than that. Adrain, no, no. Lots more. It is a line that is established in all dimensions, everywhere, and it has a lot of ramifications. One confederation is aligned with another, and that is confederated with another alliance. They are all interconnected by various treaties and agreements. So, the family's membership is endless. It goes into other universes. I had it all down, all the numbers, in my notes, which someone has taken. I had the membership of the aliens that controlled this part of the galaxy, which is in Andromeda. Sean, Andromeda the galaxy or Andromeda the constellation? Adrain, oh, both. Both are very high and both have a great deal to do with it for some reason. Sean, getting back to the future. What's the other thing, beyond the genocide? Oh, okay, the first thing is the genocidal war. Where and when is it going to start? Adrain, in Europe and the Middle East. Sean, who are going to be the major players in it? Adrain, Israel will have something to do with it and the people in the Mediterranean. And then later on, China will get involved. Little by little everybody will end up losing control and getting dragged into it. But, of course, at the top, the leaders are all saved and uniting just like we are doing. Thinking this out and planning it all. No one is really the enemy of anybody. I'm sorry. People are just in the way like always. Like pawns in a game of chess. Sean, how long does the next war last? Adrain, 2 or 3 years. Sean, that's all? Do you know when it starts? Adrain, supposedly around 1998 or 1999. They have the plans all laid out, the goal in numbers for the elimination of a certain number of people. Sean, how many? Adrain, I had it all written down. Sean, take a guess. Adrain, several billions. Sean, do they use atomic weapons? Adrain, they are more advanced than atomic weapons. It was something more strange. It was weather control technology they were using. If I can remember when I saw it, they were creating huge winds. So maybe 5 hurricanes at the same time. You know, just one can do a lot. Sean, so it's made to look like natural disasters? Adrain, yes. They use different weapons. Weapons that people have never seen before, and can't even imagine. It is something out of a fantastic movie, from an acid trip, or whatever. It was really something strange. Sean, so like earthquake-inducing devices, hurricane-inducing devices? Adrain, yes, weather control. Sean, so, we won't think it's war, will we? We'll think it's all natural disasters. Adrain, then that's the excuse to use regular simple conventional weapons because people don't have any food, and that's the biggest problem. Nations might still have something stored, some grain, and other nations will come to take all that land to survive. They order the stupid captains in the lower ranks around to do it. They think they are playing a real war, you know. So they will actually go out and start a lower war with conventional weapons. It will go from artificially induced atmospheric and geological problems, and I'm afraid that it will go to conventional weapons after that. Sean, what's the next thing, the second thing you were saying? There were 3 things. Adrain, oh. Remind me. Sean, genocide was the first one of the goals of the 9 families. There were 2 more. Adrain, the second one, genetically engineering the perfect special bodies for the slave race, and then engineering a perfect body that can hold the unique energies for the Ets who want to come in, who have nowhere to go. The custodial aliens who consider this their real estate. They are not going to give up until they get this world. They have it already, but they just want to taste it a little better than they can now. For them it's like smelling a good steak but not being able to eat it. And finally they want total control of the Earth and this entire sector of space. Sean, why don't they just take it all over tomorrow? They've got all the power. What's stopping them? Adrain, there are a lot of good people in this world. Our vibration, in itself, is what stops them. We are the last line of defense, whether we know it or not. Our own power field. There is a lot of good love, a lot of good open hearts, a lot of cosmic warriors and benevolent aliens helping out, too. Very subtly. They are also very afraid that if they come too far out into the open, it could backfire. Sean, they are not in a hurry, are they? Adrain, huh? Yes, yes. The benevolent aliens are in the way. We are in the way. There are a lot of good things happening. They just can't take over like that. Their energy is very powerful, but fragile. Easily burned away. That is how it is with the forces of darkness. It only takes one small candle to light a whole room. They just have to make sure we don't light that candle. Sean, is there another great Antichrist, another great world leader that comes to power? Adrain, there's a probability. But not definite. With a stamp. Sean, Nostradamus talks about the third great Antichrist, the guy in the blue turban. I have had some run-ins with him and his uncle on the astral plane. The coming Arab leader of the Islamic/China Confederation. Have you seen any of that? Adrain, he comes in saying that he is one of the incarnations of an old prophet from the Bible, and that the Bible says that his coming has been predicted. He is coming out as a religious figure. Very good looking, too, very strong. He is incarnated already, but if he is going to do all that, we don't know yet. It could change. There is a man who comes to great power, but it is the fall of the church he is connected with it. Sean, the fall of the Catholic Church? Adrain, yes, but I saw that more concrete. That's more favorable. It was more strong. I could grab it more. But, the other guy, no one may ever even know he is here, but he can become something else. And then people would say, they lie, the psychics were wrong. I say no, things just went another direction. Break. Part 2. Ed. Note, I had a chance to chat with Claudina, Adrain's beautiful fiancée. She of all people convinced me of the validity of this case. She is bright, honest, gentle, and totally guileless. She goes on most of the off-world trips with Adrain, and gives a soft, feminine perspective to this entire thing. I also saw a photo, taken by Adrain, of two saucer-shaped craft, one hovering a few feet off the ground, and the other with an extended ladder. Claudina was climbing up it to get into the ship. Here I talk with her about her experiences. Sean, what's the greatest experience you've had in this whole wild adventure? Claudina, well, I've always had a strong affinity with dolphins, and anything that has to do with underwater life, always since I was a kid, you know. Sean, yes. Claudina, this was before all this started happening, before I met Adrain. It was very, very strong. I mean extremely strong. It was something that I was just always in my mind, you know, and I told Adrain that there is something weird going on, because it's like, constantly in my mind, you know, and I really don't know what it was all about. So Adrain smiles at me and he goes, you'll find out soon. And I'm like, you can't tell me now. He says, no, not yet, but you are going to find out soon enough. You'll be surprised. I said okay, so, one day when we had an encounter, it was a time that I was able to go. Sean, you had to take off work in order to go? Claudina works as a cashier in a local market. Claudina, no. It was a time that I was able to go. But, you see, I don't go all the time, and they told me that this one in particular was something special for me. To kind of prepare me for something that is coming in the future, that hasn't gotten here yet, but it is coming, and it is getting close. But, to ease my mind a little bit, of something that I've been almost obsessive about, and wondering what is going on, you know, with dolphins and whales and seals and I mean everything. Mermaids and this and that. And they took me to this planet. They said they couldn't tell me the name of it, because I wasn't ready to know, but that I would know about it in the future. For some reason they were going to talk to me, and they couldn't tell me yet. But, eventually we went in, and they took the ship down. It's weird, because it's not like an atmosphere in the sense that you still have land, and then you have the sky, you know. It's not like that. It's like all water. Just like from top to bottom, it's just like a big ball of water, something you've never seen before. They have all kinds of creatures there. I mean, man and animals that are here like dolphins and seals and some other things we've never even seen before. They have cities, you could say, but buildings that are transparent, it looks like crystal quartz, transparent that have a faint glow to them. Like pure energy, and they have like a pyramids and igloos and circular structures. Those were the types of shapes I noticed their buildings were like. When I saw that I felt such relief, and I knew that was where my connection was. They told me that I had another life there, and it's not too far back, that's why I'm so close to it. But that in the future I was going to find out more about it, because I have something that I have to bring to this planet that comes from that lifetime. But, right now, I'm not ready to know everything, and that's why they couldn't tell me everything that's going on, but that I will in the future, and a lot of things will be coming together, and eventually I'll be able to do what I came here to do, my mission, which is going to be helping a lot of people, but it comes from that lifetime, in that particular planet. It explains a lot of things. Why I always as a kid I loved the water and nobody ever taught me how to swim. I just jumped in and did it. That's something that my parents were always amazed at. That I was just a little baby, but I would just play by myself in the water for hours and hours and hours and be swimming underwater holding my breath. They couldn't understand it. You could say that is the most touching experience to me. Sean, did your water planet have any other features, like a lot of moons? Claudina, to be honest with you, I mean, I didn't even notice. I was so, into everything I saw, the animals, it was great, but I was just amazed. The other thing is that I love animals, in general, you know. So, when I was there I was like blinking, I couldn't believe it. So, I really honestly didn't have any fear of anything around. I was just feeling like a horse when they put the blinders on, that's exactly how I was. Sean, so you didn't get a chance to talk to any of the people? Claudina, no. We were in the ship the whole time and we saw it on the screen, like we were watching out a window. And they just said, observe it and remember this. And in the future you are going to know more about it, but right now, we'll give you a little push. At the same time my mind was going 100 miles an hour. Like you have something inside you that's asking so many questions. What is this? What is that? You know? And they just said I could relax and know I'm not going crazy. Sean, did you have a favorite person on the ship that you liked? Any particular person that you were friends with or felt close to? Claudina, mostly I would say it would be Muka. Sean, is it a man or a woman? Claudina, it is a lady. Sean, are they all women? Claudina, the ones that I see, yeah. I haven't seen any men so far. Sean, what do they look like? Claudina, they have long hair, longer than me. Down past their waist. Dirty blonde. Very pretty. And big eyes, that look like cat eyes. You know. Sean, do they look like yours? Claudina, yeah, but they are bigger. They look like cats. Every time I see my cat, I think of them because they have those almond-shaped eyes, like cats do. You know, they go out and slant up. Really pretty. Sean, aha. Do they have a round retina in the eye like a person or a vertical slit like a cat? Claudina, no. It's regular, round, like a person. Sean, anything about the ears? Big earlobes, pointed ears? Claudina, their ears are normally, you know, like ours. They might have a little extra skin down here, at the lobe. But, nothing super noticeable. Sean, how tall are they? Claudina, they are pretty tall. They are like, 6'2" or 6'6". For a woman, that's big. Very prettily shaped features. They look like dolls. They don't have a space at the bridge of the nose. Why no dent where the nose starts. It seems to come straight down from the forehead. A Roman nose, like on an ancient statue. Adrain, but it looks good. Claudina, yes, it looks very nice. On Earth there are very few people that have that straightness. They usually all have very long, sharp noses, you know. It's straight like that, but it is very feminine. I don't know. I can't explain it, but it's very nice. I mean, it's hard to explain. They are very pretty. Their mouths are also perfectly shaped. Sean, do you see the same people every time you're on the craft? Claudina, most of the time. Mainly Muka. Sean, just her. Claudina, well, no. It's her and another girl, but she won't tell me her name for some reason. Sean, you asked? Claudina, I asked her and she just looked at me and she said, regretfully I cannot tell you. So, I was, like, okay. Sean, could you get an image or a symbol or anything from them when you talk to them? Instead of them having a name, is there some sort of symbol that you see when you see each one of them? Claudina, no, not really. Sean, do they ever talk to you telepathically? Or do they speak just like we do? Claudina, most of the time they talk to me like we do, but sometimes it is mentally. Sean, do they speak English pretty well? Claudina, oh God, yeah. Editor's note, we return now to our regularly scheduled interview. Sean, could you tell me if you know anything about Area 51? Because apparently they have a Pleiadian beam ship and I was wondering if you know anything about how they got it. Adrain, I was told once that the Pleiadians, actually left one of the craft in some field. They just left it there, and somebody came to pick it up, but they can't open it. It is actually a trick. Like a Trojan horse. It is like a camera. They have monitors on the craft that can see into anything. Into the earth, right through walls. But at Area 51, and many of the other bases where they are being helped by the darker entities, they have technology that can block the viewing monitors. So we let them have a monitor ship to study, so that we could collect data to see what they were up to inside the base. They captured a second craft that they got into but they couldn't work it correctly. It is the only thing I know, having to do with the ships at Area 51. Sean, why can't they work it correctly? Adrain, the ships are partly organic. When they are being manufactured they use a sample of tissue from the person that is going to operate the craft. This helps to establish a physical and telepathic resonance which acts as a dead man switch, so that if the operator dies or if the ship is captured the craft can only perform rudimentary functions, like hovering, but is no longer capable of space flight. The whole ship would have to be rebuilt and completely reprogrammed. Sean, one of the ships that Bob Plaza, the scientist who defected from Area 51, saw had 3 small chairs in it, but looks just like the ship we just saw in the video you took. Adrain, no. That is a Zeta Reticulan craft. Some of the Pleiadian ships look very similar to the beam ships on the outside, but there are some subtle differences. Sean, can you tell me anything you know about the crop circles? First off, who is making them? Why they are made, maybe what they mean? The modern crop circle phenomena started in May of 1990 in England. Any reason for that? Adrain, one reason we see most of the crop circles in England, is because that is where many of the 9 families are based. They are working with the reptilian race that lives many miles underground, together with several other alien races. Sean, is this correct? Adrain, the Alliance have gone directly into the backyard of these 9 families and they are telling them to stop what they are doing, and telling these alien races and the secret world order that they work with to get out or suffer the consequences. It is a message, and they have a time limit. So when the 90% of these circles are found, most of them are done as a form of communication. Some type of universal code. It is the language to communicate with the non-benevolent ents that have the world strangled to tell them they will not triumph. A small percentage of them are also little messages for people who are waiting for things and certain signs. Sean, who are the circles made by? Adrain, they are made mainly by the Archerians, and some people from the Alliance who come in from the Andromeda constellation. Sean, so the crop circles are being made by Archerianets or do they come up from up inside the earth? Adrain, when they are made initially they use small craft, and then the negative ones come down to sort of read them, the way people have filmed them, and think that those craft are the ones that are making the circles. Laughs, they get pretty rattled when they read the message and find out what we are going to do to them. Sean, since I've been in the fields in England about 100 yards away at the same time the circles are being made, I can tell you there seems to be no visible phenomenon whatsoever. It's like they ooze up out of the ground. Adrain, well, because the craft are cloaked, and the beams they use are way above the visible spectrum of light. Sean, have they ever taken you or have you ever asked to go to Andromeda, to go sit in on the councils of the Alliance? Adrain, not really. But I have a feeling of it because Adrain, the Pleiadian counterpart, has attended the council many times. When that happens, phew. Those feelings of peak experiences are for me hard things to talk about. Of course, Adrain tells me a lot of things. What they want to do with the Earth, and everything else. Sean, such as? Adrain, it is very hard to explain. They have a much bigger perspective than ours. A much wider view of the entire picture. There are 3 alternatives that they are considering. The first is to do nothing. Even if they manage to simply neutralize the negatives, they feel that you will probably destroy yourselves anyway, and many are willing to let your own natures take their course. The second is to simply kick over the planet. Rescue a deserving few, let the Earth roll over several times, wipe out everything and start over by repopulating the Earth with beings they feel deserve to live here. These are my people considering this. Many feel that destroying everything here would allow those who die to progress and transmigrate to a higher level, and help the consciousness of the Earth to evolve much more quickly. The third is to stabilize the spin of the Earth, which has been thrown out of whack by all of the atomic explosions, stabilize the tectonic plates, so the game can be played out. But with one difference, there are many Earth people that they have taken to live on their worlds, Romel being just one of them. These Earth people have had children who have been raised in Pleiadian societies, learning their laws, science, and religion. There are about 100,000 just on Romel now. These children want to go back to the old country and see where they came from. Many thousands of them are returning, and will be returning in the years to come to help us through the hard times ahead. There was a huge influx of these people coming back to Earth in 1995. The Council has not really agreed on anything as yet. They are making their mind up now. That is why it is so important that we do everything we can to fix our karmic debts. If we can raise the consciousness of the planet, by building study groups, like the ones I am teaching now in the Tampa and Vero Beach, Florida area, we can avert the catastrophe that our current timeline holds. Sean, who does the Andromeda Council report to? Do they report to anybody else? Anybody higher? Adrain, there are people in the organized group, in the Council of the Alliance, that I told you about. They report to people more inside on a mental vibration. And those report to something more inside of that. Something that was called a spirit vibration, and they report to something more inside of the heart. There are no words for it. It is a soul vibration. The spirit is not the highest vibration, the soul is. The spirit is like a protective sheath, and the soul is the highest vibration where everything comes from. The soul is the core vibratory frequency of the universe. It is a collective consciousness of people that have made it in many incarnations to the inner heart core of our universe. As they come in, they join into this one vibration and they get bigger and bigger. Then these huge collective consciousness entities report to some others higher, you know, it is like a chain of command. Sean, they report to beings in another universe. Adrain, Yup. And they are the ones that are mainly responsible for overseeing this universe. Another universe oversees the other one. That's how it is. Sean, there's no original universe. Adrain, it doesn't exist. It is infinite, from the biggest to the smallest. It is a fantastic number. A gigantic universe, that is next to it a whole bunch of other gigantic universes. This planet, the solar system, the Little Dipper, the galaxy, this universe with all the other ones and all the rest that we are talking about. It is so big. And yet all of that is perhaps part of an atom in my thumb. Sean, so there is infinite bigness and infinite smallness. Adrain, who would know we are in the middle of this? It is going to lead to the highest and the lowest. That's why our symbol looks like something like this. He draws with 3 lines and 1 joining. That is the universe and the creation. Sean, I have videotape with photographs of ships that have this symbol on the bottom of it. Adrain, oh? Sean, yes. They are called the Amo, and that symbol is on the bottom of their craft. Adrain, that line on the bottom is the physical worlds, the second horizontal line stands for the invisible or etheric words, and the third line on top stand for the worlds of the soul. They are joined together by a vertical line representing the highest eternal, to the lowest eternal of all creation. Sean, is there a ruler of this galaxy? Is there a name for somebody that maybe rules or runs most of this galaxy? Adrain, the galaxy? No. It is just a collective consciousness. It's like I said, it's beings that have made a different connection together with beings from other universes. Sean, have you had any other experience with people living on any other planets in this solar system with the exception of the Moon and Mars? Adrain, some beings on the moons of Jupiter and Saturn. I was told that these are from Orion. Sean, How many races have you had direct contact with? Adrain, that's a good question. The long-nosed Sirian Grey negatives, the Grey Orion negatives, and the benevolent Zeta Reticulanes. The Pleiadians, of course, and some beings from the constellation of Pegasus. Sean, what did they look like? A thumbnail description? Adrain, believe it or not, these people have wings. Sean, the ones from Pegasus have wings. Adrain, the people from there tend to have wings. It doesn't mean that everybody there in that system has wings. Just like people that look like Germans, but they are not all blonde. Sean, what do the Sirians look like? Adrain, the original Sirians that came over are mainly tall dark people. But their noses are very big, not flat like a black person. Their faces are a little long, tall and thin. They look tough, you know, interesting, very strong. Sean, and the Zeta Reticulians? Mostly a small race. Adrain, yes. They have differences. Some are more human-looking, more like Chinese. Some look more like the pictures you see of the Greys. They always have big heads. These other ones look more greyish with bigger eyes. You can tell when they're from there because they have an ambience like little children. Mischievous but yet innocent. It appears in how they walk, how they act, their whole vibration. It is no bother to me, the way they come and poke you, like playing around and being curious. The negative Orion and Sirian Greys have an ambience of fear, knowing exactly what they want to take away from you. The others, the benevolent Zetas, have an ambience of playful curiosity. Sean, so there are good Greys and bad Greys. Adrain, yes. But the Greys that are confusing everybody, look pretty much the same as the good Greys from Zeta Reticuli. Small, greyish with big heads. They are from Orion. From Rigel and Betelgeuse. Those are the bad ones. Sean, and what do the Pleiadians from your system look like? Adrain, the women are 6*2 to 6*6. The men are between 7 and 8 feet. In the old days they were 20 to 30 feet tall. But now they are smaller. They all have a Roman nose, that comes straight down from the forehead, with no dent at the bridge, with very large, liquid, almond-shaped cat's eyes with a beautiful blue or green color. Sean, where do the American Indians come from? The red race. Adrain, from the southern hemisphere of Atlantis. Sean, but where did they come from before that? Adrain, they belong to the Sirian, Vegan and Orion systems. They are dark people. Of course, like I've said, the ones that are screwed up, the evil ones, they also come from the systems of Sirius and Orion. They are negative ones, but they don't look black or red. They look sickly and whitish, and you have tall ones and small ones. Most of them don't have any hair. Those are the ones that are in trouble, and make trouble for the Earth humans. Sean, is there going to be an extraterrestrial invasion of this planet, sometime around 2004, 2005? Adrain, the 9 families have a plan which is to do with the chupacabra that you were investigating in Puerto Rico. The ultimate goal is to create a climate of so many problems and so much terror, pollution, war, crime, and fear. They want to get people used to the idea of an alien invasion with the chupacabra, but this will set the stage for them to launch a fake alien invasion of Earth. Everybody will be so terrified that they will give up all their rights and say to the world government, please help. Do anything, just come save us. The chupacabra is a creature created by genetic experimentation, and being purposely released into the population to get people used to the idea of some kind of evil alien invasion. That's why it is getting so much publicity. That's when they have the special forces come in, with martial law, take over and tear up the Constitution. Poof. Gone. That's the plan. See? Because like I said, they are seeing that people are becoming very intelligent, they are learning what's been happening, so they are very afraid. They know the Constitution and the things that they will take away. But that's why we have the mass mind control, for the kids, using the TV and all that stuff to make them hang around with pistols, start shooting people and everything else, so that then it will make an easier excuse when they want to take over. Parents and everybody sending letters to senators and congressmen saying, hey, let's the guns out of the streets. They take away everybody's guns so the people can't defend themselves. That makes it easier for them when the thing really starts, so the troops can handle people with no trouble. This is the whole mass plan. Sean, so you are saying that there is no threat from the reptilians, there's no threat from a real alien invasion? Adrain, no threat. The only threat is that the reptilians have technology here and they don't care about anything. They are here already. The threat to the secret world order and the evil acts is the Alliance. They are wondering how long is the Alliance going to let the shadow government get away with what they are doing. So that's their actual fear. Sean, we can change this, can't we? Adrain, yes. With this conversation, we can actually alter, through positive vibrations and frequency waves, things all around us. Somewhere something changes for the better, and that changes in that one. Like dominoes. It begins a whole different future. Sean, we need to reach through the mind control. Tear down that screen, and it changes people. By writing and talking about all this. Adrain, yes, as we are doing here, because that's one thing that escapes them. That people have souls. They have the life force, which is of great power. But it, too, is a form of energy, and it can be trapped by the evil ones. They can create a situation like when you are dying, and they can create a hoax, a fake scenario with the light and the tunnel and Jesus Christ and everything. Oh, it's the light. Jesus is coming, oh yes. They can trap the soul and trick it. Suddenly you are in a laboratory terminal at some kind of station there. They wipe everything out and then you are back here again. They live on that. They live on the notion that you are constantly reincarnating over and over with many lives with not enough time to catch up on what's going on. No time to build up any strength or wisdom. These aliens sometimes abuse these souls, for as long as they live, which is thousands of years, or 500 years at least. Sean, who lives that long? Adrain, these entities, you know. Sean, which entities? Adrain, the ones that do this stuff, the Syrians, the Ohens, the old ones from Atlantis, the ones that are doing the most damage. The rogue Pleiadian splinter groups together with the old Lyrans. There are beings from Alpha Draconis and Ursa Major that are most amazing. They are half man and half lizard. Big people, you know. Very strong. Oh, you have smaller ones there, but the majority are very strong, very big, up to 1,500 to 1,800 pounds. They are totally unemotional warriors, and that's a problem, too. So all these people are living in their own artificial ambience and they are tired. They want to be in your dimension, they want to be free. To breathe and move and be comfortable, to be out of the bubble, as they say. Sean, what do they do with the soul energy once they absorb it, once they trick it and put it into the laboratory? You are saying that they use people coming to the light, or going to the light, as a kind of trick. Adrain, yes, they do that. In many cases they capture not the soul, but the astral body, but when they capture the astral body the soul is captured too, for a time. If it is strong enough it gets out, if it's not it is because that soul lacks cosmic evolution. They stay pretty much, like, in a prison, and that's a problem. Sean, and when they die are they taking them to the astral plane, where their spirit and the soul go? Adrain, for instance, here you can do the same thing with witchcraft. When somebody dies, you can be ready for him with entities on the other side. They are waiting for him, with the same vibration that you are coming into. They will capture you, and they can actually put you in a container, and you are stuck there. So, you can capture somebody with this magic technology. For people that are weak, they can be made to work for you later. They will become slaves. That's how it works. Sean, but there are entities that can feed on the soul force, the soul energy? Adrain, oh, right. That's a good question. How do they do it? It's true. The ones that do this are the ones that are the good-looking ones. The ones that look like angels, the strong ones, that look like tall blondes. Those are the refugees from Atlantis. Down here on Earth, they are the ones that are in charge of the whole thing. They are of Lyran/Pleiadian descent, in charge of everybody else. So these are the ones that feed from the energies of the people, from these astral operations. They are looking always for people that kneel down easily and give all their power away to someone that will take care of them and take away their own responsibilities. They feed from this, and that's why you see the ships of these beings hanging out around football games, around churches, anywhere groups of fanatic people gather for something where there is a lot of emotion and anger exchanged. The ships take in these energies through a vacuum of light. They will filter this energy in the ships to use as power, then all of the other energy that is left over, they actually transport to different places around the world, depositing it there, and then it manifests as problems, wars and fear. You can see it out in the streets, all the crime and everything else. So they actually are attracted to particular negative auric vibratory fields. So they live from that. Isn't that interesting? Sean, why do UFOs usually always appear over areas before there are major natural catastrophes or wars? Adrain, I guess one reason is to watch for what's happening and to see if they can take somebody. Many times they wait until the disaster comes, and the whole building falls, and that's how they can easily take people so they won't be missed. I don't know if I'm explaining it right. Sean, no, you are explaining it perfectly. Adrain, it is a great opportunity to just take people for either good or bad reasons. They won't be missed that way. They are always watching. Always looking. They can beam people physically onto the ship and take them directly to another world or another place, so they can be taught or trained without having to die, and yet they will not be missed when they are taken. That would be called a direct incarnation from the regular mode of having to die. Like an ascension. Sean, the good guys or the bad guys take people? Adrain, both, actually. They both sometimes use the same methods, but that is not in general. Sean, so there's no extraterrestrial threat to this planet right now. There's no reptilian fleet or armada on its way here, the Archerians aren't battling anyone outside the asteroid belt. Adrain, no. If an invasion were to happen, it would be a staged thing, because the bad guys took over a long time ago anyway. It has already happened. Sean, but there's no battle happening between the asteroid belt and Oort clouds. The Archerians aren't fighting off the reptilians, right? Adrain, in the old days that would happen. Sometimes that happens with somebody that comes in accidentally, without knowing the space laws, and so sometimes you have little wars or something like that. But the Alliance would never. They don't work that way. They don't fire on anybody actually physically to destroy. They would if they had to, you know. It happens once in a rare while. They have police all over. They stay away from that kind of thing. Reactions take place when the Greys or Reptilians know they are going to get arrested and they shoot at anything. You know, they are very trigger happy. The Reptilians are a race that has been created directly on purpose, with no emotion, as a warrior race. Human beings crossbred with reptiles. Originally they were created as a land force, labor and warriors, but then they started getting smart. If you create something like that, you can't expect them not to use their intelligence. The time came when they also wanted their own ships. They wanted space, too. To live and be independent. Now they live 200 to 300 miles underground here on Earth. Sean, my Tibetan teachers call them the Nagas Harachi. Single quote The serpent men. How did they get there? Adrain, with the ships. Sean, why do they live under the earth? Adrain, like I said. The answer to this is that they feel good in a cool temperature. They also feel comfortable because of the lack of light and the atmosphere, and they are sensitive to bright light like the Greys. It is interesting, because in the Atlantean days people would create fantastic cities underground to keep away from the big animals, you know, dinosaurs and all that. Now these creatures have gone underground, because they look like the dinosaurs, and now they want to keep away from humans on the surface. Funny, right? Sean, let's talk about time travel. When was the first time you traveled in time? When was it? How old were you? What can you remember? Adrain, I was 15 or 16. Man, they just pulled me up right into a ship, and dropped me outside of Miami Beach. Sean, from where? Adrain, from the house where I was living with my Earth parents. Sean, so it was a long ways away from Miami? Adrain, a half an hour drive, I guess. Sean, okay, so you were taken up in the ship? Adrain, I was slammed into the future. A future Miami Beach. The first thing that happens is that they drop me and I hit the sand, and I looked straight ahead, and saw the ocean horizon. I said, where am I? I was overcome by surprise. They don't tell me anything. That's one of the curious things. Nothing was prepared beforehand. Then I looked back, and of course, then I noticed I was there in South Miami Beach, recognizing everything because I saw all the hotels. I said, okay, so here I am, what's going to happen now? And I was just waiting. I was kicking up some sand, and I was walking up and down the shore. Then I noticed the light starts getting dim, like bad weather, you know, that kind of ambience, like a little nice breeze. Then I heard screaming in the street on the other side of the hotels. I had a feeling to look out at the ocean again. I had a feeling that maybe whatever I was there for it was coming from that way, and I was right. From the east, it looks like a black line moving up, taking up the entire horizon. And I said, oh, I wonder what's coming over there. It kept getting bigger and bigger, and all of a sudden, the weather starts getting a little stronger. The wind blowing and everything. I see and hear people running around crazy, all over, and I can remember a lot of people desperately falling, and others walking right over them. I'll never forget the chaos all around me, and I said, ooh my. Look at that. It was a giant wave coming right at us. Then I started remembering in New York the giant buildings, how they look, and I said, that thing is bigger than those tall buildings I remember. That old man is going to take all this out like little toys. And then all of a sudden about a dozen people appeared to my left-hand side, and they were part of the crowd that came from who knows where. Then the starships appeared and started quickly, frantically, beaming people up and out of the city in the ships. So, exactly as I say on my left, this group of people were just looking at me, and with their minds telling me, yes, it's us, we are here and we are ready. Tell us what to do. Where do we go? And there was no expression on their faces. Sean, who were they? Adrain, young people. I didn't recognize them, but they recognized me. They were just regular people. I was surprised that they recognized me, and apparently I didn't recognize them. There was a calm expression on their face, like they knew that they would be people who would be saved. Then I said, oh, this is where we have to go. Follow me. Then we very calmly walked. We were walking and everybody else is running around, but we were in a protected force field. I didn't see it, but I felt it. The field was 5 or 10 feet around. All around it is like a revolution with people running over children screaming, and then I was thinking, look how interesting, how they are screaming and going crazy and running. But to where? There is nowhere to run. I was thinking that I remember. Which is very curious, too. And that's when I, poof, got taken back up and then I became like a camera watching the scene. Sean, so you were up in the air, looking down. You saw the wave cover up all of Miami? Adrain, yeah. The water receded. Is that how you say it? Sean, yes. So you went back up to the ship? Adrain, oh, no. I'm in the air which I can't explain. I didn't see the ship, or those people anymore. But, they were safe, and of course, they came there, for that project, and I saved them for whatever reason. What I saw were little dots of islands, like Key West, Florida. Sean, how far up in the air were you? Adrain, 10,000, 20,000 feet, more or less. Sean, and were you looking down on all of Florida? Adrain, yes. But my body was going higher because I saw much more of the gigantic peninsula. It could have been 100,000 feet, or something like that. I could see the whole thing from one corner to the other. From the Atlantic Ocean to the Gulf. Sean, Florida was gone. Adrain, yes. Not the whole thing, though. I saw little dots of a shoreline with the water moving very violently, around Lake Ocala. That's where I saw the new shoreline. The wave covers just a little higher. Not exactly in the middle. Then, all of a sudden, I feel this rush coming down this way from me, from high to low like this. And I woke up, opened my eyes but now physically in my bed. Jumping, I landed like I was dropped from the ceiling. You know. But the interesting thing is I was all wet. Like I just took a shower with all my clothes on. That was interesting. Sean, salt water? Adrain, yes. I was just soaked. Sean, did you see when this happened? The incident, in the future? Adrain, no. Sean, any ideas to when? Did you manage to look at a newspaper or anything while you were there? Adrain, no. Sean, did Miami Beach look like it looks now? Adrain, yay. It looked normal, not like the Jetsons or something like that. Sean, but you had this vision when you were 16. That was 25 years ago. Adrain, yes. So maybe the time is approaching. I usually never talk about dates because things are changing constantly in the future, so the path that is leading energies back and forth isn't fixed. If I say things and they don't happen, people will say I am a liar. I have been in the future several times in the same place at the same time, and it has been different every time. I have predicted horrible storms for Florida in 1997, but the Pleiadian forces are trying to change this, just as they changed the 4 other hurricanes that were coming behind Hurricane Andrew. Sean, what causes the tidal wave? Adrain, a meteor that is going to hit the Caribbean. Sean, but you don't have any ideas to when? Adrain, no. And, if I do, I won't say a date here. Like I said, just in case things change, I will look bad. It is pretty near. It is somewhere between '98 and 2012, I believe, somewhere around there. Sean, that gives you a lot of breathing room. Adrain, yeah. Laughs. Sean, have you ever heard anything about Atlantis rising up? Because I've seen that in my own visions and meditations, that Atlantis starts to rise directly off the coast, which begins to inundate Florida. Adrain, I thought that could happen, cause I saw something like that, too. Land just rising up, and actually people were moving there to live. Sean, after Florida goes down into the ocean. Adrain, that's right. Sean, did they ever show you any big earthquakes in the future? Los Angeles, San Francisco. Adrain, large earthquakes in Florida, which will be very strange, because that has never happened. Sean, do you know what area in Florida? Adrain, the lower area. Sean, are these going to be right before the tidal wave? Adrain, I think so. Let's talk about another experience that I had when we get back to the hotel. Sean, how many times have you traveled in the future? Adrain, solidly, at least 3 good ones that I can remember. Sean, why did the Pleiadians from Tayageta dump Billy Meyer? Stop his contacts. Adrain, in a way, Billy Meyer was an experiment. He represented the whole human race. However he would react, they considered that the whole reaction of the human race. But, the thing is, that his emotions started manifesting. His ego. The human passions that followed got in the way. The same thing happened to people around him. That's even more trouble. Jealousy, fighting. Meyer's people saying, I'm going to be his secretary. No, I'm his secretary. No, I'm in charge. All that crap was going on. Sean, did it do something to his aura? Adrain, of course, this altered his auric field, all that negativity that was brought in, when all of the experiences and all the power was given to him, it brings out all these negativities from the inside to the outside. It penetrates the auric field, and you become very sensitive to negative energies from negative ents, from negative astral beings, and from government people. This all at the same time, got right on top of him. And so everybody got out of whack. They lost the love and harmony. So, that actually started the interference, with the Pleiadians. It started bothering their minds. Billy developed a negative auric field. Like a bad smell. A psychic stench. The Pleiadians are very sensitive to that. That's why they don't come around certain people or certain areas. So, they decided to stop the whole thing, because the negativity was so strong, and the negative influences became so powerful. So, they, Meyer's followers, decided to keep the Pleiadian teachings, which were meant for all mankind, for themselves, their own little group. They didn't do the right thing of disseminating the information properly worldwide. They never did that. They have to this day not done it still. So the Pleiadians decided to just leave. He was told by each one of the Pleiadians, in various contacts, and especially by Tar, who told him that this was the end, and that the next contacts will come from America. And here you are with me. I am it now. Sean, which must have made Mia very angry. Because he hated Americans, right? Adrain, yes. Mia was always asking the Pleiadians why it has to be in America for the next contacts. They always told him no because they couldn't tell him the true story, you know. Or what's happening now with my case, they couldn't tell him. And they never did. But, now he finds of all the details this year for the first time of what is going on. So that was back around in the early 80s since Mia's contact stopped. And how many years has passed since then? 15, 16 years? Well, that's about the same time they told him they will come again. That more contacts with them would be made public. Some 15 or 20 years. Sean, did Semjas, the name of the female Pleiadian in the Mia case, really have some kind of accident? Because Mia claims she hit her head and was almost killed, and that's why the contact stopped. Adrain, no, not really. That didn't happen. She is very well. There's no problem with her. She is alive and well. No accident. Sean, you have here 2 contacts so far with Semjas. One in the physical and one in the astral plane. In fact, that was Semjas's ship in the famous car chase video you took on the Miami Contacts video. She has been brought in by the beings from Romel because of her experience with Earth contacts and interaction. Are her contacts with you going to start up in earnest, when Billy finally dies? Adrain, yes, you can say that. Because, like I said, Semjas is one of the original members of the whole project, and if we start just like that, I mean, that's bad for her own evolution. You know. So, she won't be satisfied and fully develop soulfully until she has actually finished this out with Billy. She must bring her relationship with Billy to a satisfactory conclusion in order to join my team, which is a whole different energy. Billy is probably going to die suddenly very soon. This will allow Semjas to deal with the karma she has built up with him once and for all on the astral level. She feels as if she failed with him. She needs to balance it out before she starts again with anyone else. So, we are all going to work when that happens, and it is going to get even stronger. And especially when I finish my own training, my own karmic cycle, it may come together at the same time. You know, those things you never think of, they have a way of attracting each other. And that's when it really gets stronger. When there is more powerful evidence. And by that time also, things have changed in the karma of the world, and things will be softer so that we can put out more stuff, also in the same time. So a lot of things will be combining. Sean, what do you say? Do you want to go out somewhere and see a ship? Adrain, yeah. I wouldn't mind. Sean, want to go tonight? Just me and you and Claudina? Can I bring them down? Adrain, laughs, yes. Sean, what do you say, Claudina? Claudina, yeah. Adrain, when a serious question is asked, I always say they are calling the shots. They are in charge. If it is meant to be, they'll put it in everybody's mind. Sean, have you ever managed to call them, put out a telepathic call, and have them appear? Adrain, oh, yes. But it was because it was time for certain people to see them, to have the experience. It has happened. Milagros was one of the people I've done that with, along with some of the people that used to be part of my group, here in Miami. Sometimes it's just me and somebody else, and sometimes in groups when they have actually done it, but if they did it, it was because of some very good, strong reason, otherwise I don't bother. Even if they wanted to, sometimes, if the ambience is wrong, or the energies are wrong, I can't do it. They might want to come in, but I can't clear my mind enough to have them come. But apparently everything was perfect in those particular circumstances. For instance, with my girlfriend and some other friends. Everything joins, the energy, the people deserve it, and the perfect combination clicks in and they come. Sean, have you been inside these bases on the moon? Adrain, no. Sean, How do you know what they look like, and how do you know what the interiors look like? Adrain, I see it. I've seen it on the astral plane. Sean, they don't show you on the ship what the inside of these bases look like. They don't show you on a monitor or anything. Adrain, not that I remember. They have told me things, just in conversations. Like somebody talking to a spy, and telling them a little bit. We are doing this, and then look at that. In conversation. And I see it in my mind sometimes. I think I just saw the outside like an airport, and that's it. I don't remember anything else. Sean, have they ever taken you to Mars or the Moon? Adrain, yes. Over the planet. Never inside, just over the surface. Sean, what are the interiors of the motherships like? Adrain, there are parts that look like a mall, like a giant playground, you know. But gigantic. The big ones look like a park. We have got to go. All of us will go sometime soon. Sean, now you said that one of the original compounds where many human mutations and variations were genetically engineered long ago by the Atlanteans was close to here somewhere. Something about a compound in Ocala, Florida, where there was an original genetics laboratory. Adrain, Earth humans are part of the original experiment. Sean, when you say they, who is they? Adrain, the renegade Pleiadians, the Sirians, the old Lyrans, were the groups that were working. The Sirians were working under, let's call them the tall blondes. They were living in the place. The Sirians were in charge of a lot of the genetic experiments under the rule and tutelage of the Lyrans. Then they got the opportunity to get back at the tall blondes. They saw the opportunity when they saw the experiments in the compound. They thought, let them create the beings, and we are going to control them. Because there weren't so many people in those days, and they were going to build the slave races, a race they could rule and be lords over later. When they expired, they could actually also be incarnated in those bodies. It was like a chicken farm. The Sirians said, single quote, okay, let them build this race, but we will come and ruin the experiment, subtly without anyone knowing. The scientists in the compound started building the bodies, but they made them stupid and retarded. They were supposed to teach them how to perform their jobs and certain servile tasks. Then, what it looked like inside, I'll never forget. They started teaching man different things. They taught them how to have sex between themselves, and the Lyrans found out and threw everybody out. Sean, which everybody? Adrain, long ago the Lyrans took over the Sirian Empire. Because the Lyrans had more power, the Sirians just had to keep their mouths shut, hoping to someday get their revenge. So by screwing up the entire experiment of the human race for the Lyrans, this is how the Sirians got their revenge. Because the Lyrans wanted to keep the people in the compound stupid. Sean, why did they genetically engineer mankind in the first place? Adrain, to take over the bodies, as I said. Because one day their bodies aren't going to work anymore, the machine is going to run down, so they say, I need a new body to incarnate into, and they go their compound and use the chickens from there. Sean, you were going to tell us. You had 2 other time travel experiences. Adrain, yes. Sean, you told us about the other one the other night, where you were taken and you saw the tidal wave hit Miami Beach. You said you had 2 other really good ones. Adrain, which one shall I start? Okay. Sean, you told me about going to Miami and the 15 people on one side. Adrain, that was the first time. The second experience, I was around the Florida Keys, that area. Apparently the first one, the meteor strike, hadn't happened yet or didn't happen. 'Cause I was around the Keys. The problem hadn't started there yet this time. It seemed to start in South America, because I was in the Keys looking toward the south, and from over the ocean you could feel this dark stuff coming out, rising, like, how do you call it, ash? Sean, ash rising out of the ocean. Adrain, from the other side. Coming over the horizon. Then I heard like the sounds of bombs coming from that direction. I said, what the heck is that? What could be happening over there that's so big that could be causing these noises, and that thing that looks like smoke or ash rising from all the way over there, that I can't see any land, only water? Then The floor started moving and I looked down, and I said, oh shit. These are volcanoes or something erupting over there. I looked up and all of a sudden I see the sun racing like this across the sky and I say, look at that, how it is racing. Wait a minute, the sun doesn't move. It is us. We are the ones that are turning around like that so quickly. Suddenly, I saw literally millions of saucers coming down. The thing that caught my attention is that none of them touched the floor or landed. They just hovered about 20 feet off the ground, and they started beaming people up. But it was curious. They had a pink light, like you shine from a lantern, and some people were beamed up and some weren't. I said, that's curious. I wonder why that is. Then all of a sudden, in my mind, as I was watching, I was also being told telepathically that yes, those are the onboard computers working in harmony with the vibrations according to the people. They are programmed to be in tune with only the vibrations of certain people. People that are good, with a lot of love. That are cosmic and resonating with the onboard computer. The ship is rigged. It can take up only those people. But, other people, it won't work. And I say, oh, why is the computer programmed like that? They say, because in a time of such strong crisis and emotion, maybe the pilot might want to save some people that cannot or should not be saved. So the computer takes care of that, just beaming some people up and not others. Isn't that interesting? Sean, you saw this in a dream or you were taken there, to a period in the future? Was it astral travel or a dream that you had? Adrain, that one, well, it seemed like a dream, but it definitely wasn't. It was real. I'm really there looking at them. There was no symbology or anything weird going on. It was like me sitting here talking to you. Sean, when did this happen? Adrain, it was like the other one. About 15, 20 years ago, approximately the same age that I told you already. It was on the second day. I had one experience and then the second one right after that. 2 days consecutive. I was taken the same way as the first time. Beamed out and slammed into the future, just like that. Then I saw the ships taking everybody and then it took off, and I can't remember anything else. It was like an exodus. I do remember people driving up on top of the Aruba and the water rising. People on top of the trees, and the terrible heat. I felt awful. I remember being sorry for those people with the water coming towards them, and the terrible feeling I had watching them drown. That's the only thing that I can remember. Sean, weren't you on the ship when they took you into the future, and then they showed you things in the future on the screen? Adrain, there was one time like that. Sean, also, can you relate your meditation technique? Is it fairly easy? Adrain, easy? Sean, could you explain it to us? Adrain, sure. All you have to do is sit or lie down very comfortable, somewhere where there is no noise, no distractions. Close your eyes, look up to stimulate the third eye, the gland right in the center of the forehead, the pineal gland at the center of the brain. Place your feet full on the floor, and you focus. The pineal gland is the connection that links your mind to the soul force. You must go into the meditation with perfect, positive feelings of harmony. It will bring a comfortable, complete feeling of love, peace, joy and happiness. Full of wisdom, full of power, full of freedom. Everything in you realizes all of these things that you are. When you concentrate and focus on this point, with this understanding, you become one with all things for a while. Just do that, for a couple of minutes, until you see something. By the time you start controlling all your thoughts. And when you have your blank screen, at this point then start taking very slow, very deep breaths. Fill yourself with that light and power of all that you know that you are. Imagine that you are breathing the life and light in and out. In through the nostrils, and out through the mouth. Breathe out everything negative that doesn't belong to you. That helps raise your level in many ways. It not only raises the cosmic level and the ambience around you, but you go deeper, into yourself. All the time your focus is here, the center of the forehead, as you take in the breath. Now, by this time, you are aware that you are calling your own soul to manifest. You have to call your cosmic master teachers, and together you combine the great experience that you have deserved according to your highest cosmic intelligence at that moment. Whatever it is for you now, that's what is going to happen. But you must call for these teachers over the course of the meditation, otherwise sometimes they don't interfere. Even your own higher soul will not interfere. It doesn't manifest unless you call for it to do so. So now that you've done that, that's when you start chanting. You begin to chant your mantra, your personal secret word, that is your own soul vibration sound. You get it through a meditation such as this one, or in the dream state, usually by yourself. Before you go to sleep, you just talk to yourself, and you tell yourself that you are going to receive the sound of your own soul. It usually comes in 2 or 3 sessions. Sean, like a moron. Adrain, something like that. The soul will tell you. You will see it in a dream. For instance, you fall asleep, you start dreaming, and they will show up maybe in something that hangs in a frame, like a picture. Once they give it to you, if you don't write it down, you will lose it. While you are doing it, you have to kind of hypnotize yourself into remembering the name and the sound. You are going to tell yourself that as soon as you get it, you are going to wake up and write it down. And believe me, it's not the first or second or third week later you are going to receive it. This is very important, and it is worth all of the trouble. Because it is a sound that you are going to use for all this lifetime. The sound may even change later on, when your soul goes to another level. But that's the level that they have to work with. The old name doesn't work anymore. It's very interesting. That's how it works. Anyway, you start chanting your name, whatever it is. Let's say it's Sean, is that what you use? Adrain, sometimes I use it. But I have my own private name. Everybody has their own private name, and you shouldn't say it to anybody else. You say, carry the last syllable, until you run out of breath. There are people who say like this, and then stop. That's all contrary to what you are really trying to do, because the vibration is cut. There is no vibration, no force there. It stops. Editor's note, we were looking through some of Adrain's photographs. Hundreds of UFOs, most in flight, many landed on the ground, and many taken in the air by Adrain from out the porthole of one craft filming another. There was a time photo taken of Jesus and 4 of his disciples. There were photos of dozens of landed craft at the main Pleiadian base in South America. One of the most startling photos showed a full view of a ship hovering about 6 feet off the ground, and a half view of another ship, with his girlfriend Claudina actually climbing up a ladder to get into the craft. Also a stunning picture of 4 craft, one either taking off or landing, the other 3, parked on a hill perched atop large archways, with stairs down either side. They were all of a different design, and there was a man under one with what appeared to be some kind of tool, while another man was walking down the hill. Both men had very long legs and, relative to the craft, appeared to be well over 7 feet tall. Adrain then related a particularly unusual adventure. Adrain, on one occasion I was on the ship and we collected a number of unique people while they were sleeping. People that will be very important in the future. They find these people with the computers on the ships. They have the registration of their current and all their past lifetimes, downloaded from what is sometimes called the Akashic records. We find them through the fingerprints of the auric seal. With the record of their vibrations we can find them anywhere in all time periods. It is very complex. That's as far as I can explain. That day I decided to go through time and get a whole bunch of at least a dozen of my past incarnations, and many other people that would be important. These are sometimes what are called abductions. I got all these people together and I took them to one of the planets. It was like a university. I sat them all down like in a schoolroom and I started giving a class. And it's all me. Along with all kinds of other people. Women, men, kids, whatever. When that finished, I got them in the ship again, and dropped them off back home in their own times. I allowed some of them to remember consciously and some only subconsciously. So that helped them in their lifetimes, and that helped me in my lifetimes. Sean, and that helped you as well? Adrain, yes. I was having many strong problems in this life, so that allowed me great perspective. It's just getting a little light too, you know. You may have a certain lifetime that becomes a teacher with a comfortable grade. It is your job to go and look for your lifetimes either through meditation, or dream states, or physical means and give them a hand. And that's what I did. Sean, That is what my Tibetan teachers taught me when I lived in the monastery in Nepal. I have found that sometimes we get great advice, and see what we think are guardian angels, only to discover that it is actually ourselves, coming back to help from the future. Adrain, yes, exactly. I can see you are very powerful at traveling through time. You are like me, you slip back and forth between lives in the time stream. It sometimes gets very confusing. Sean, tell me about it. Editor's note, later on, back at the hotel, we gathered together to talk business about the upcoming TV special and to have Adrain lead us in a meditation. In the group were Larry Germain, my co-executive producer on the TV show, and friends since college, Randy and Armando Winters and Mila Gross, an older Cuban woman with great psychic power, insight and ability. She has seen the ships many times, but has never gone on the craft. Adrain starts off leading the meditation. Adrain, focus 1 inch above the eyebrow and concentrate towards the back in the middle of the brain. Towards the pineal organ, the seat of the soul. Concentrate on your life force, your soul, who you really are. With a conscious deep understanding of who you really are, as are all-powerful, all-wise, all-free. You are the eternal life force. You are God that is being created in principle on life force, of the universal creation. You are all perfect, positive, harmony, freeing you, comfortable, full of love, peace, joy and happiness. You are a complete soul. Let's meditate on life. Knowing that you always were this life force and you always will be. In the greatest characteristics of the soul that was deep and beautiful, and this is where we are going to go, this is where we always see that quietness, that stillness, that inner peace of silence. Keep concentrating on your third eye. Now at your own discretion, call out for your soul to manifest, and together call out for your inner master teachers that they may come and join as one with your soul, as they may determine that this experience that it is for you at this time according to your highest cosmic intelligence in the now. Saying the Om chant for at least 12 times, and then we will remain in the silence, and there we will receive. We shall do the Om in a rolling way, without stopping. When I stop, all of you will stop also. Keep the concentration on the third eye all through the meditation. It is the understanding of who you are when whatever you think manifests. And if we are thinking on our souls, they shall manifest. And all its characteristics and everything Ed. Note, after we come out of the meditation, Mila Gross has a number of psychic insights. Mila Gross, speaking in Spanish. Adrain, she says, we all knew each other in that era when the Knights of Templar went to war. We were all knights crusading for the truth. Sean and Larry especially. Mila Gross, and that's why I feel like I know him, Sean, myself. Adrain, you two have to compete. Sean and Larry, me horse is prettier. But, it is just fooling around. You, Sean, had a white horse. You, Larry, had one with spots. So, we can fool around with each other. It is a true gift, your, Sean and Larry's, sense of humor. We are all reuniting again. That is interesting. Mila Gross, my brother, her guide, is coming from the center of the universe. I tried to bring the diamonds of light down on him. It will be all unified in one mind. That it is, in my mind, what I want him to be. The energy of it needs to be more focused, in the room, and it works like that. I don't know why they say that. There is too much discord all around us. Adrain, that's because we are in a hotel room, with people staying all around us. Mila Gross, I've got this feeling. Something that is like what I heard. Sometimes I hear from my left ear a sharp tone, like a bell. This is already in process. This show you are doing, the message is very important, that everybody is doing the wrong thing and that they need to change. It is going to be a good product to give to these people. But, you have to be very careful, who writes it. There's going to be one person that's going to be very sensitive to the writing, to whatever the subject is. It is like it is very important to recheck and be attentive to whatever is written for the notes and the script. Not too et or too religious, but very straightforward. So what the guides were telling me, put on TV what you have seen and heard. Adrain, it's always people shouting, saying things, and then somebody comes and says it is not correct. It's always a panel and that kind of junk. No. That's not the kind of thing we need to do. You are the master, take it or leave it. That kind of presentation. Muller grows, it's gonna come out, and it's gonna come out good. And everybody's gonna earn a lot of money. For you, Sean, I see you working a lot. Phew. So much work. Many people working under you in movies and TV, being the big boss. To Larry, do you have a girlfriend, right now? Is she pregnant? I see a little baby, take care, cause every time I see that it happens. Adrain, she never fails, man. Now we are gonna really have to smoke some cigars, no? Larry, shocked. We actually were trying this weekend. Muller grows, okay, keep on it. If you want a baby, it will come. Adrain, oh boy, look at that. That's pretty clear. Sean, from November the 23rd to December the 28th there is going to be a door, that's gonna open. That's when the vibrations are going to begin to change, and that's when things need to be realigned. Those dates are very important this year. Adrain, I agree. Sean, it will occur right after Thanksgiving till December the 28th. Larry, we have to be done soon to be aired by then. Sean, we could even air it Thanksgiving weekend. If we can air it between November the 23rd to December the 28th it will be amazing. But that door is opening from now, single quote 96 through 2003. And whoever doesn't get into that door, is going to be left behind. Another thing, too. I keep getting these two women dancing around in my head, now. There is a blonde one and a brunette. During the meditation a window opened. The two women were teasing, pushing each other aside saying, let me see. No. Let me see. The blonde was dressed in what looked like a goldish burnt orange type bodysuit, with what looked like a gold ring around the neck. She went and changed her suit, and she came back wearing something white that was sort of big-shouldered. It came diagonally across the breast, like a uniform, it buttoned here. She was now wearing the same outfit as the brunette. The screen widened and I could see both of them full view, standing inside a ship. The blonde turned and said it is time. And she pressed what looked like a diamond on a control panel that looks like a switch. She touched the diamond and it lit up. Then I saw the underbelly of a ship, but the ship opened and it became very, very black. Like a camera lens. Then there was like a tornado, like a whirlwind, and it sucked all of us up into it, and the bottom part of the ship looked like an eye. The blonde was named Muka. The brunette seemed to be named Ishtiara or Iktiara. She's not the same as the blonde. They are similar, but she comes from another race, like she was brought in just to deal with me. Adrain, beautiful. This is great confirmation. Sean, wait. Looking up I can see the window again, with the two women. Adrain, that's probably right outside, they are looking in at you through the monitor. He gets up and looks through the curtains out the window. Sean, let's hope. Adrain, that's a good confirmation. Sean, long blonde hair. What do you think? Adrain, she has beautiful eyes. Cat eyes. Sean, yes. I'm also getting the same feeling, too, that I had for 3 days after that lunch that we had at Acapulco's. You know, up in Burbank, that day. When we first seriously started to sit down and talk to Randy about your contacts and bringing out your case. Larry, you told me about that. Sean, looking up, suddenly yelling. What? What do you want? What? Oh. I'm getting that feeling right now. Right now it feels like my whole brain is being downloaded from right here. It feels like my whole head is being sucked up. Images and flashes and childhood memories, and past lives. Future stuff. Yelling. Ara. Quit it. Stop it. Muller grows, translated from Spanish, he's too sensitive. They're going to put the hat on him. Mother help him. Editor's note, I could clearly see these two women in front of some kind of control panel. They went from guileless and childlike, to cold and clinical, like doctors performing an operation. They pressed another diamond button and this time Iktiara said, it is time. I saw a clear, brilliant tube come through the curtained window of the hotel room, and it attached itself with the impact of a bullet to my forehead. I then felt something else attached to the base of my skull. The whole left side of my body went limp and numb, like I was having a heart attack. I began to quiver and shake violently. Larry, panicked. "Are you all right?" Looking in Sean's face. "Oh my God. His left eye has gone milky white. And there's a white light coming out the back of his head." Larry puts his hand on the back of Sean's head. "Maybe we should call a doctor. This is really freaky." Milagros got on the bed behind me, sitting in the chair, while Adrain stood in front of me. They were both trying to work the energy coming into the room, but I don't think either of them knew any more than I did what was happening. Suddenly, I screamed as it felt like two red-hot daggers were plunged into both my eyes, and my body continued to badly spasm. I felt sick to my stomach as the bile worked its way up my throat. Then, a tangible, physical pressure began to be applied to my skull. It felt as if a circular vice grip had encircled my cranium, and someone was twisting it tighter and tighter, like someone trying to crush an egg in their fist. The pressure on my head was excruciating. It felt as though my entire existence was being downloaded and dumped into some huge database. I have spent much of my life collecting information, and now that information was being forcibly sucked out of me all at once. The past, present and future began to run together simultaneously, being turned to liquid and poured into the sparkling stream of time. It was beautiful and terrifying all at once. Brilliant flashes of my past and future lives, Earth history, gleaming cities, great battles, massive destruction, earthquakes, hurricanes, clashing knights, glistening swords, magic stones, crashing meteors, beams of light in space, other planets, priests and prophets, angels and demons, thousands of creatures and beings, good, great and noble, evil, craven and perverse, whole galaxies and universes within universes. All of God was within me, and all of the multiverses were within him, and he was not stretched or cramped in either place. I know everything and nothing all at once. Listen. But all of it was being pulled out. I felt traumas, conflicts, pain, betrayal and loneliness pour out of me, but also being strangely healed, as my left side continued to go tingly and numb with paralysis. Milagros and Adrain worked frantically trying to regulate the energy coming in and out of me. I began to sob from the pain and overwhelming nature of what was happening. Suddenly, I saw the kind, benevolent, loving, concerned face of my mentor and teacher Master Rinpoche, the High Lama from Tiang Boyach, the monastery I had lived and studied at for those long months in Nepal. His shaven bald head, flat oriental features and burnt tanned leather skin, like crinkled ancient parchment, softly drifted into focus, like a face breaking the surface of a gently babbling stream. He looked at me closely, tilting his head as he scrutinized me and my agony. Then I saw him on the bridge of the ship, surrounded by a soft reddish-golden glow. He stood behind the two women at the console with his hands clasped together. He waited there for what seemed like an eternity, looking calmly but inquisitively over the women's shoulders at what they were doing. "Make them stop!" I screamed. Master Rinpoche raised his right hand with the index and middle digits pointing upward, and the other fingers hanging limply, in a casual gesture but one of immense power. The two women turned, somewhat startled, but then bowed deferentially. "Please. That is enough," he said. The women nodded, pressed a sequence of switches, and the image in my mind vanished. My breathing slowed. My heart began to pound more regularly. I had lost all feeling in my left side. I staggered into the bathroom and vomited my guts out. As I sat on the floor, wiping my face, the cool kiss of the porcelain bathtub against my back, Milagros knocked softly and came in. "Milagros, are you okay?" "Sean, yeah. I'll be fine." "Milagros, oh, man. They did you good. They put the hat on you. I hate that hat. That's why I go with Adrain to see the ships for many years, but I will never go on them." "Sean, why not?" Milagros laughed. "Oh no. You should ask. And wind up like you. Matter. They are not coming anywhere near me with that hat thing. No gracious. I staggered back into the room, getting some feeling back in my left side, but feeling empty and drained. Adrain, smiling, they are activating you. You are going to get closer to the Ents, my friend, much closer than you ever imagined. Closer than ever before. They are going to start giving you things that are incredible. People will start opening up to you. Amazing things are going to start to happen. So get ready, my friend. You are in for the ride of your life.